Years have passed, shadows of doubt growing alongside Shenron's human-like form. While Goku blossomed into an even more formidable fighter, Shenron grappled with his new limitations. His dragon essence, once boundless, now felt caged within mortal flesh, stirring a restless yearning for his lost omnipotence. That and the chronophobia, which was hitting him now really hard. How did Kami deal with this for so long? This gave him some newfound appreciation for his master. Now, before the two of them could depart for the tournament though, the elder took his dragon friend to the side for a simple eye-to-eye conversation, a tete-a-tete.
My friend, your eyes are now mine in the arena. Remember, Goku's might is unquestionable, but if he falters against Piccolo, the burden then falls onto you. And beware, there are shadows within shadows in this battle. Not all threats are as visible as Piccolo. Shenron raised his eyebrows at that very illuminating statement.
But wouldn't that mean that you would also...
Kami gave his friend a sad smile.
Yes, and more. In this form, you are not just continuing your existence. You are the last bastion against a darkness that threatens to engulf this world should I fall. Your survival carries the weight of untold futures.
That was an unexpected and rather gruesome request, thought the dragon human. Something that Shenron did not fully expect. But he had no doubts about trusting his master. It had never been a thing for him before, so why should it be now? And come to think of it, doubts are a bit of an alien experience for him anyway. He dealt in absolutes.
But can't we just imprison him? Or we can use the evil containment wave, like you taught me.
Yes, I know, it's a preferable option. But just in case it fails, just in case you have to act, you have to do it. This is the final option. You have to be ready.
I understand, Master.
He had to think about this in greater detail than he'd expected. Goku noticed his friend looking upset at something and tried to approach him about the subject.
Hey Shenron, why the long face there? Well, it's not as long as before, but is everything alright? Well, we're gonna be fighting in the tournament in just a few days. Surely you gotta be excited, right?
It's complicated, Goku. See, if we encounter your friends, let's keep my identity under wraps. It's not just about being weird. There's a storm brewing within me. A clash between what I was and what I become. I fear my dragon nature might surface at the wrong moment and make things rather awkward for you and your friends.
He was only sort of lying, Shenron. He knew that this situation would come up, and he'd rather not have the young man's friends ask him for future favors or getting too close just to be a bit of a suck-up. It wasn't the main thing clouding his mind though, but it was enough to get Goku's attention and to get him on board.
Alright, so you want us to be all mysterious, right?
Yes, I just don't want them to know right now. If they realize that I am the eternal dragon, they might try to sway me to grant their wishes later. I know that you're a good bunch in the end, but as you know, even good people can be selfish from time to time. It's seemingly human nature.
Goku scratched his head.
Oh yeah, you got a point there, Shenron. Mama will probably ask you for some strawberries like she originally wanted to, but I think she's got a boyfriend now, so shouldn't be all that bad. But Oolong? Yeah, maybe that's a good idea you don't say anything, Bal.
Thank you, my friend. I knew you would understand.
As they were then both preparing for their departure for the 23rd World Martial Arts Tournament, Shenron gave his master a very long look. This could be the last time that they see each other, if things went south, but Piccolo had to be stopped. If the Martha didn't work, he could be the one having to end his life. He didn't like this duty one bit, but who else but the Eternal Dragon could be the right candidate to make that decision? He bid farewell to Mr. Popo and followed after Goku, who was already on his way. The weight of the mission was a heavy toll for the dragon on their way to the tournament, and he didn't want his young friend to carry the burden as well. They traveled for what felt like many days. It took them a long time to get to the tournament grounds, and it didn't help that on this particular day, the weather was pretty foul as well. It set the mood for everybody. It greatly mirrored Shenron's own feelings. While during the journey he was able not to think about the grim tasks that laid before them, the closer they approached Papaya Island, the more nervous he got. Oh, these feelings were awful. Why did he become human, he would sometimes think. But finally, it came to the moment of the first meeting. He realized very quickly that Goku's friends, up close, were not able to recognize him at all, both due to his growth spurt and the turban.
Goku, your headwear appears to have made them confused,
he politely suggested. He could see how their faces brightened at the sight of the characteristic hairstyle, and everything fell into place. He could see the two young women, Bulma and Launch, Master Roshi, as well as the pig thing with the really pervy thoughts. Oh, and his cat friend. In that moment, things changed. They suddenly became people for him, instead of just beings that asked him for wishes. It all made sense. Soon enough, they were then joined up with 4 other people he recognized: Krillin, Yamcha, Chaozu, and Ten Shinhan. And after all of those happy introductions were done, Yamcha posed a question.
Hey Goku, who's your new friend by the way? You look like a pretty tough old-timer.
Old-timer? I am a perfect average age for a human my age.
Shenron stumbled into a response.
Oh yeah, how rude of us. What's your name, kiddo?
Roshi laughed.
It's Shen. The dragon started before it was too late. Tien looked at him carefully.
Are you related to the Crane Hermit of Mercenary Tao?
Shen Lang.
Shenron felt a weird, warm feeling on his face. He couldn't see, but he had turned red. This was new.
Shen Lang? How many yens in there, buddy?
Asked Krillin as if he wanted to make a mental note.
Just 1.
They all looked at him rather suspiciously.
This guy was weird. But then again, Goku was weird. So they all burst into merry laughter. Phew. Well, a friend of Goku is a friend of ours. Krillin patted the dragon man on the back.
Thanks, Krillin.
You already know my name?
Yeah, I heard Goku saying it on our travels. Yes.
Well, are you competing then?
Shenron was feeling so awkward right now.
Even Goku could feel it. And though usually oblivious to social cues, Goku did come to his rescue.
Oh yeah, Lang is like crazy strong. We trained for ages, right Lang?
Oh yeah, we did. A lot of fighting stuff.
As they were walking toward the tournament registration booth, Shenron could hear them talking to each other, just catching up with old times. They had no way of knowing that he had the ability to recognize even a whisper. His draconic powers included very good hearing.
What's the deal with the horns? Should I ask him about that?
Krillin, that would be really rude.
Bulma sniped in.
It's like you're asking someone about your nose thing.
What nose?
Krillin scratched the space in between his eyes where a nose should be. In any other circumstance, Shenron might even find their prattling a little bit amusing. But nevertheless, it felt annoying. With the mission awaiting him, he was very gloomy and grim throughout the entire meeting. It was like he just couldn't enjoy himself. This was the first time he was interacting with humans like this. The registration went by rather quickly, and the dragon hoped that they could get over this whole tournament thing and just be on their way, or find a distraction. His first fight was supposed to be against Yamcha, but before that, He could watch Ten Shinhan match up against his former idol, Mercenary Tao, who was now adorned with some really mechanical weirdness, he thought. Luckily, the three-eyed warrior was successful and beat down the assassin rather easily. The next fight that came their way was Goku squaring up against an unnamed girl who was clearly into him. Shenron felt that there was some kind of connection between the two, but he couldn't quite place what it was exactly. But there was something. The fight itself wasn't really long or spectacular, and it seemed that the individual's name was a bit of a gambit, and it turned out to be Chi-Chi. Silly Goku promised her that they would get married when they were young, not fully grasping the concept of marriage. The next fight was with Krillin and Ma Jr., or Piccolo Jr. The dragon watched in horror at this monstrosity. He was slightly different from his father, but seemed to be an even more formidable opponent. Shenron wasn't sure how to feel, scared, relieved, but he was impressed by Krillin's valiant efforts nonetheless. Maybe he too should have trained with them at Kami's place. He did not expect such a display from the little monk. Finally, it came to it. Shenron's first proper fight. Yamcha bowed his head politely.
Well, Shen Lang, if you trained with Goku, then you must be pretty tough.
Looking forward to see how powerful you really are. Shenron just nodded without a word. He was really bad at that whole small talk thing, as Krillin saw earlier. Yamcha decided to begin his foray into this fight with, of course, his signature Wolfang Fist, which Lang countered with his Dragon Claw, just taking the hand. This really surprised the bandit, as no one had ever stopped one of his most powerful attacks with such ease. He tried to free himself from the hand of Shenron, the grasp really tight, and then trying to do some kind of rolling kick to get out of it, but his opponent just moved slightly, avoiding the kick. Yamcha was starting to panic and decided to charge, taking his opponent with him. The dragon then decided to let him propel him just a little bit, just go with the flow. He could read what the warrior was trying to do. He was trying to get a ring out, since it was becoming clear he couldn't beat him by pure strength. But suddenly, when they were on the edge of the arena, he stopped, as if he were made of stone, surprising the young man and almost tripping him over. Freed from Lang's grasp, Yamcha thought it would be a good idea to go for his good old last resort, especially with the opponent being so close to the edge. And he launched a powerful spirit ball, an extra large spirit ball, toward him. But to his utmost surprise, Lang managed to catch it and infuse it with his own fiery power and throw it back. The explosion was so powerful that it wrung out the bandit without much of an issue. His first fight was won. After it was over, Shenron decided to help Yamcha up.
Well, Mr. Lang, you're really strong. Only as strong as I need to be. Not bad, young man. Not bad.
He even smiled a little bit. He was feeling good. And with that, Shenron qualified for the semi-finals, where he will be fighting against Ma Jr. Well, that was an almost fortuitous matchup, wasn't it? But first, he could spectate Goku's fight with Ten Shinhan. He knew his friend's fighting style inside and out, but seeing him go against an equally seasoned warrior was quite the treat. It was especially spectacular when the Triclops went for his multiform technique, and Goku managed to use his own solar flare against him. Well, they have two shots at Piccolo then. Good. That made Shenron feel a little bit calmer. It was really needed at that time. So when Shen Lang and Ma Jr. stood against one another in the arena, they gave each other a very long gaze.
But who are you supposed to be?
The Demon King's son narrowed his eyes.
You look familiar. I have a bone to pick with your father, dearest. But you will have to do. I'll give you a fight you'll never forget. If that's your wish, it shall be granted.
Shenron smiled. As the two of them charged at one another, the fight felt very fierce, to the point where Piccolo had to remove his weighted clothing, revealing his true nature and terrifying the audience. Shenron, on the other hand, covered his opponent in claw marks and fire, but none of that seemed to be as effective as he hoped for. That battle with Yamcha felt like a distant memory.
I am with you, said a familiar voice, looking through your eyes. Wait for him to get distracted. Attempt to capture him.
He heard Kami's voice clear in his head.
So, you're one of his lackeys, aren't you?
Piccolo's eyes widened, figuring out the situation. He could hear them. There was no time to waste then. As Shenron placed a bottle on the ground, he used all of his might to launch the Mafuba at Junior. Still, it seemed that he had underestimated his opponent again, as he simply reversed the force back at him, putting the dragon in a nifty small bottle. Now everything was in Goku's hands. Shenron was embarrassed and frustrated.
Calm, my friend. You did everything you could.
This did not convince the dragon, but now he could only be a witness, a hostage, in the exchange between Goku and Junior. Their fight began right away, and for the hundreds of years since he came into existence, Shenron hadn't seen anything like it. While Piccolo attempted to destroy the arena, Goku was able to counter him almost every single time. The few people remaining in the stands, those who weren't terrified by the revealing of the Demon King's son's identity before, were now running away. This stopped being just a tournament scuffle. This was a fight to the death. Suddenly, Piccolo grew to a gigantic size, seemingly gaining the upper hand for quite some time. Shenron slowly started to lose hope. This was becoming unassailable, the giant putting the bottle in his mouth. But Goku was able to retrieve it with some clever maneuvering. This prompted the demon to return to his regular size. Clearly, doing that caused him a lot of pain. Then he broke the bottle. Shenron attempted to join in the fray but was stopped by Goku.
No! Let me face him alone!
Are you sure?
The dragon was speechless.
Yes, I am.
Suddenly, an apparition of Kami popped up right next to him.
Goku, it's important for you to finish it! Master!
Shenron gasped.
Yeah, I know.
The young warrior nodded. Goku was doing incredible things. He was turning Piccolo's bullets back onto him, prompting him to rip and regrow one of his limbs. The monkey boy, or rather monkey lad, was dancing with the opponent. But still, Piccolo's blasts were even darker and more ferocious than before, to the point of heavily damaging Goku. When he was about to gloat about his victory, the young warrior revealed that he had also mastered the ability of flight, something that was known to both Kami and Shenron, but had otherwise shocked everyone else. Using his own body as a projectile, he rang out the demon from what was remaining of the ring, thus winning. And with that, Yajirobe was tasked with giving Goku a sensu bean, which had brought him back to near perfect health. Meanwhile, Piccolo was laying there on the brink of death, gasping for air. He had done it. They had really done it. Shenron was happy. Now to finish him off.
Hey, Yajirobe, can I get another bean?
Goku smiled.
You sure?
The Ronin was surprised by their request, but okay. With Kami and Shenron screaming almost in unison when he offered that bean to Piccolo.
Goku, we have to stop him once and for all!
Shenron yelled.
Yeah, about that. If he goes away, Kami also goes away. But I don't want that. We wouldn't be better than his father, would we? Besides, he's really strong and I need a powerful rival, you know? I want to fight him again.
Piccolo looked around in a dazed expression, slightly paranoid. Shenron felt something really odd. King Piccolo would use this opportunity to attack Goku, but instead, he flew away, gloating, as it was his weird way of processing his emotions of losing. And Shenron did know a thing or two when it came to processing new alien emotions. He kind of understood Piccolo right now.
Goku, you are absolutely stunning. Your heart is utmost pure. Would you be willing to take my job as guardian? I see it now. You are the only one worthy of the title.
What? After all of that, Master could not simply... But Goku, being his natural self, just showed his tongue and winked in a playful manner.
No thanks, Kami. I'll pass.
He said quickly as he grabbed Chi-Chi, climbing on the flying Nimbus that had just arrived.
Few things can beat this thing.
And as he left with his betrothed, everyone remained slightly dumbfounded by everything that they had just witnessed. Kami chuckled softly, then disappeared. So, was it over? Was that it? Piccolo decided not to destroy them, and Goku just left. And his master was seriously considering asking the boy to replace him? Soon, Shenron found himself standing there, all alone, aimless. He was probably expected to return to the lookout or find a living situation of his own. But he knew that the mission was not over. He didn't trust Piccolo one bit. There was still something odd about this one. He intended to learn what it was, one way or the other. No, the mission wasn't over. It just evolved. Someone had to have an eye on the Demon King's son, and this someone might as well be Mr. Shen Lang. And that's where we're going to be leaving things for right now.